We have Wranglers, a whole pile of them here. $118,000. Save over $18,500 on truck month, 0% financing on select. It's a Wrangler Rubicon X 4xe and wow, $86,000. That's clearly the prices are way too high.
Jeep sales rapidly decline in the midst of this cost of living crisis. People can't afford to buy these overpriced, highly expensive vehicles.
This is not the same category of vehicle. They're trying to pitch it that way. They need to chop these prices down at least 25% off the top if they're hoping to make any sales on these types of vehicles right here.
Yes, while Jeep and Stellantis has promised to bring and deliver a product that is more upscale, the fact remains is they forget their core clientele, and that's people that like to take their vehicles off-roading and enjoy a frivolous, cost-effective, practical off-roading experience. Jeep sales have been so rough that this natural decline means that most Jeep, Ram, Stellantis products sit on the lot for 120, 130, 140 days, whereas the industry average is only 70. On top of that, all their vehicles are going to cost each and every dealer a significant amount of money and floor plan costs and overhead just to keep these vehicles on the lot due to the fact that they're not selling. Things are so rough, in fact, the CEO has actually spoken up and has a plan for the long term. And since all of this in the midst of recent layoffs that Stellantis has had to face due to Jeep's not selling, many workers are waving bye-bye. In recent months and years, Jeep has advertised that they want to go up market and sell to a higher-end clientele. But when you look at vehicles like the Jeep Compass, for example, and the pricing that those are coming in at.
But things have gone up so much in the last 3 or 4 years. Clearly, since 2020, it's gotten out of control. Over here, we have a Compass. Nice little unassuming unit right here. Great looking silver. You've got some nice plastic touches, black piano finishing up here. And what are we talking about here? $47,000 for this unit. That's getting absolutely nuts. But that's where the prices are at right now.
They're clearly far too expensive for what you're actually getting, and you're better off, in most cases, buying yourself a Toyota RAV4, Honda CR-V, or even a Mazda CX-5. Things are so bad, in fact, the infamous Jeep Cherokee, after decades of success, they finally had to wave bye-bye because they're not selling. And on top of that, the Grand Cherokee has definitely been a focus of attention because with Jeep, Ram, Stellantis trying to go up market, they're trying to cater to a clientele that is normally used to buying BMWs, Audis, and Benzes.
Like right here, for example. Let's take another look. Okay, what do we got here? Okay, this one's 66 grand. That's talking a little bit, still kind of pricey. We're dealing with 4x4. This is a pretty standard looking unit. Nothing too crazy going on here. This is a Grand Cherokee, as you see right here. They've got some glossy rims on there. It's a good looking unit, but it's clearly not where people are still paying, because at 66 grand, it's still 75K out the door. So it's still too much money, way too much money for these. Chop a third, 25% off, then you'll see some sales.
Things get much worse as you start to move around and look at some of the Wagoneers and Grand Wagoneers. The sheer cost of those vehicles are cost prohibitive. There was a time when Jeeps represented an honest vehicle for the masses. Well, clearly the Wagoneer and Grand Wagoneer are vehicles now exceedingly expensive and are only attainable by those people with 6- and 7-figure incomes.
We have more Grand Wagoneers and Wagoneers right here. I mean, look at the price of these. I mean, these vehicles don't come cheap. This Wagoneer here, let's take a quick look. $139,000, that's crazy.
And as well, one of the longest standing, most successful Jeep products in the lineup is the Wrangler.
It doesn't even have much for features. Plastic here, and look, even this goes for a whopping $65,000. That's pretty typical.
The Wrangler looks great, has all of the off-roading prowess you could ever dream of, has a roof that pops off, you can rip the doors off and the hood, and you can actually drive yourself a vehicle that is fun. Great for the sun, off-roading, winter driving, it does all of it. But it's that very capability that has driven the market prices up. What started out as a vehicle was relatively low cost and built for the masses, again, has now gone up market to satisfy only those people with well-heeled incomes, well in excess of $100,000 to $200,000 a year, because the average Wrangler is seriously cost prohibitive.
We look at this beautiful little Rubicon. Yes, this is a 4xe, absolutely gorgeous looking unit. And what we have here, Rubicon 4xe, and this retails for a big price of...
And things get even worse. As soon as you start adding a little electrification to the equation here with Jeeps, then prices all go through the roof.
How about this great looking Rubicon? That's a pretty looking unit. That's a 4xe, all dressed up to the nines, all dressed up and really no place to go because it's not going anywhere. I mean, right here we see the sticker in here, the Monroney, and what's it telling us? Well, pretty good options list right here, as we can see, but $85,655, $86,000 for this unit. $86,000. Sure, it's a hybrid. Sure, you get that extra spare tire, but my goodness, that's big money.
And that's what Stellantis CEO Carlos Tavares actually has a plan.
So what's Jeep going to do differently from here on?
On top of eliminating at least 200 workers this week from the assembly line, they've decided to actually make some big changes, all for the sake of cutting costs. And Stellantis comments regarding these layoffs is, these actions will help improve productivity and ensure companies' long-term sustainability in a rapidly changing global market. Blah, 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 blah. Ha! That's a lot in one mouthful. At the end of the day, they're also blaming the UAW strikes and the fact that they had to renegotiate and sign at a much higher income. Now, clearly it's a business model that is not sustainable, and with prices increasing the way they have, very few people can actually afford to buy a modern-day Jeep. And what once affordable Jeep, like a Wrangler...
Well, looking in here, honestly, I've seen Wranglers here as much as almost 140 grand, all before taxes. Grand Wagoneers up about 140 grand. So these are like, I mean, these are serious dollars. But conversely, what's starting to happen now, after looking here and checking online, I'm starting to see the fact that what they're doing is hammering some incentives. You're seeing sticker and then you're seeing like a discount. I'm seeing 5 grand, 10 grand. I even saw one in there that's $20,000 marked off. So clearly that tells me that there's a lot of opportunities here. If you like the brand and you were planning on buying something anyhow, I would suggest this is probably some time to maybe take a look and see if you can wrangle up a deal. Pardon the pun.
Now all you can do is get a base entry-level Compass or Renegade.
Or over here, we have this little hot rod here. This is another little Jeep. Beautiful little SUV. But look. Oh no. $47,000 for this little unit. This is an Altitude 4x4 Compass. Very base looking little unit. I'd rather get a RAV4 CRV. Definitely going to last a lot longer than that,
which no self-respecting Jeep owner would ever consider buying. Tavares has also commented that building electric vehicles costs at least 40% more than their internal combustion counterparts, and as a result they have to sharpen their pencils and become much more aggressive. Without cost reductions, EVs will be far too expensive for the middle class, which ultimately will shrink the bottom line because the market span is much smaller. And when you look down the car lots of a local Jeep, Ram, Chrysler, Stellantis lot these days, you'll quite evidently see a mass abundance of inventory. And that's just a red marker to indicate and confirm that they've actually gone down 10% in sales in this last quarter. So Stellantis and Jeep have to come up with a better game plan. We already know that most Jeeps are priced out of the middle class working income, and we literally cannot afford to buy a Jeep to save our lives.
$75,000. Yeah, and this is a limited 4x4, but that is limiting, all right, financially for the buyer.
They really should look at being more competitive, not just in the transition to the global market of EVs, but they need to even look at the fundamentals and notch prices down even further. Not just maintain them and find cost-effective ways to maintain these prices as they transition through EVs, but actually reduce these prices.
So it looks like what they're doing now is taking $1,700 off of a Gladiator's MSRP and adding about $3,000 more in options and features. Maybe trying with the equivalent of $4,000 to $5,000 incentive to get people to start buying these again. I think they're going to need a lot more than that, in my opinion. I think you need to chop this at least by 30%. Then you'll see some people stepping into the door and start buying these.
Many customers are looking at vehicles that they expected to see from 5 years ago and hoping the prices would hold. But clearly they haven't. We've seen prices rise 30, 40, 50% in the last 3 or 4 years, indicating that the company is reaching for the stars in terms of profits, sadly enough, leaving the average consumer in the dust. And because of these increasing prices, you probably all wonder how much vehicle you can actually honestly afford. Right there, check out that video, very popular video about talking about how to budget, how to set your monthly payments, and how much not to exceed. Hope to see each and every one of you on the next one. We'll see you real soon. Bye-bye.